Hello, I'm Teresa. I am new to booktube, but I am not new to books. So, welcome to my channel and let's get into it. Today I have created a bracket that contains my top 8 5-star reads for the year of 2023. I had more than just 8 books that I rated 5 stars throughout last year, but I had to make some cuts to actually make this bracket because, as I've learned through this process, you cannot have a 12 book bracket. You can't have, it gets complicated, and I have a bachelor's degree in English and not Excel. But I don't want to exclude those honorable mentions, so let's get into the books that I have eliminated from my bracket before we get into the bracket itself. First on my list of honorable mentions is going to be The Wicked King by Holly Black. I love the Folk of Heir series. The Wicked King is the best installment, but because it is not the first book in the series, it was sadly eliminated from this roundup. That doesn't mean Jude and Carden aren't on my mind every single second of every single day. God, I love Jude. Next on the list of honorable mentions is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Sorry if my nose is redder, I just had a little sneezing fit. So The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, I listened to on audiobook, and because of that, I eliminated it from this list. I believe that the audiobook helped with my overall reading experience of the book. However, I did hate the narrator's voice for Henry. Because of that, I eliminated the book. But also, I feel like audiobooks are an entirely different beast than paper, cardboard, Kindle, whatever, words on paper or digital paper, so you may say. But, that does not mean that they don't count as reading. They still 100% count as reading, but production is a big part of audiobooks, and I feel like it greatly colors the experience for the reader, and that is an entirely separate thing that I would love for more booktubers and reviewers in general to just go into, is if they read it on audio and what they thought of the production, how they feel it affected their enjoyment of the story, and so on and so forth, because I feel like production can really make or break an audiobook. Third on my honorable mentions is the second third in the collection of short stories that is a part of the Daevabad trilogy. The Daevabad trilogy was 5 out of 5 for me from almost the get-go. The beginning I did have a rough time, just for a second. Beyond that, I love it. Love every single page. Have not gone a day where I have not thought of Alizad Al-Khattani. But I couldn't justify having all 4 books in this bracket. And so you may see The City of Brass on the bracket. You may see it. Fourth on this honorable mentions is going to be Half a Soul. This is where we kind of get into the nitty-gritty, because I don't have a solid reason for eliminating this from the bracket. It's a cozy Regency fantasy. I thought it had compelling characters. I thought it had a solid plot, but simply the other 5 stars that are going to be in this bracket compelled me more. Next up is The Lover by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. She may appear once or twice on the bracket, you'll see. But simply, The Lover is a short story. Silvia Moreno-Garcia flexes her genre-bending muscles yet again with this story. It's a story that is told in the vein of a grim fairy tale. It's about a woman who sees her lover in her dreams, the face of her lover in her dreams, and it goes on from there. It's a short story, so I don't want to spoil too much, but because it is a short story, it will not appear on this bracket. Lastly, but never leastly, The Hunger Games. It was a reread. Suzanne Collins is a master storyteller, and I was as enraptured with this story the 20th time I read it as I was when I read it multiple times as a teenager. The Hunger Games is literally top tier out of top tier, but because it's a reread and because I would say arguably it may not be able to be beat, it's been excluded from the bracket. So let us get into the actual bracket, shall we? Laptop here, but I'm going to try and cut this to where it doesn't show. So let's get into the bracket. I can't remember where I left off, so let me go over how I have this bracket set up. The 8 books are paired off, not randomly, because I didn't decide to do it that way. I did it chronologically, so it's the first book that I read that was a 5-star versus the second book that I read that was a 5-star, third book, fourth book, so on and so forth. And that's just how I did it, which is going to result in some hard decision making in just the first round. So let's start. First up, we have The Beautiful Ones by Silvia Moreno-Garcia versus Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. Oh, and this one is a tough one. Let me tell you, because these 2 books are not alike at all. We have The Beautiful Ones, which is about Hector returning to Losail during the grand season to win back a love that he lost long ago. And Nina, our other point of view, sees this as a chance to join the ranks of notable socialites, but she's more interested in meeting the acclaimed entertainer, Hector Avery, and convincing him to help her learn how to control her telekinesis. So it's a dash of fantasy that is set in this world of Regency. And I love it. I love it so much. Nina is probably the most likable female character that I have ever read. Like, hands down. She is so sweet. Nothing bad should ever happen to her. Unfortunately, it does. Then we have Mexican Gothic, which is about a chic debutante named Nomi, who travels to the Mexican countryside at the behest of her cousin, who has recently moved in with her husband. And she calls upon Nomi to come save her from an unknown doom. Family estate that her cousin is now in is alluring, yet terrifying, and the people within it are the same. And Nomi needs to uncover its secrets to save her cousin and herself. This, Nomi, not a likable character, actually the opposite. So Nina and Nomi, complete opposite characters. And I love them both equally. But I am a sucker for a creepy ass house. And in Mexican Gothic, there is a creepy ass house. So we will have Mexican Gothic advancing to the next round. Next up, oh my God, I want to die. I'm sorry that this looks so bad. I am not a graphic designer. As I have said, I only have a degree in English. So this is Legendborn versus City of Brass. Now let me get into these two because I love these two so much, but I am kind of bitter about Legendborn because I thought it was a completed duology and Goodreads lied to me because now I'm waiting for the third book. So Legendborn is about our protagonist, Bree Matthews, who discovers a secret society during her first early admission semester at UNC Chapel Hill. And then she has to deal with, she discovers that she can see demons and that they're all over the campus and that this secret society deals with them. She's thrown into this world that has roots in Arthurian legends, plus she comes from a tradition, in a magical tradition that is rooted in Black culture, African American culture, and she deals with all of that, and she discovers answers to her past that she didn't even know she was looking for, and it is so good. It's a YA fantasy, and I would have been obsessed with it, absolutely obsessed with it as a teenager, and I am absolutely obsessed with it now, going on 30. So I love it, but it is up against the City of Brass. Now, the City of Brass is about Nari, a con woman in the Neapolitanic age in Cairo. She has this unexplained ability to heal herself, and during one of her cons, she accidentally summons a handsome and mysterious djinn. He leads her across the land to a magical city of Daevabad because he sees that she has this weird power to heal herself, and it's linked to this magical city. Meanwhile, we have Alizad. He's a djinn in the fabled City of Brass. He is a devout Muslim, and he is also the second prince to the king of the city. He wants to help the citizens of Daevabad even when it goes against his father's rule. And that throws Nari and Alizad together. And they discover that they both have a lot to learn about this city that they are both deeply connected to. I love it. Love it. So good. Favorite characters of like the past decade. I can't get enough of them. And unfortunately, I don't think Shannon Chakroborty has any plans currently to continue the story. But I'm okay with reading anything she writes, so I will stick with The Adventures of Amina El-Sarafi for now. And with that, even though it pains me greatly, and I wait with bated breath for the next installment of Legendborn, I have to go with The City of Brass. I love it so much, it's my baby. That completes this side of the bracket. Really quick, huh? So we have The City of Brass and Mexican Gothic advancing to the next round. On our other side, we have She Who Became the Sun versus An Enchantment of Ravens. And boy, oh boy, are those two very different. She Who Became the Sun is such a rich, complex story. It is about a young girl in 14th century China who assumes the identity of her brother and joins a monastery to claim a destiny that is greater than the one that is set out for his second daughter in that society. Zhu will stop at nothing to achieve greatness and keep the secret that could take it all away. And we love that. We love that. We eat it up. Shelley Parker Chan has described their story as a story about a bunch of murderous queers, and we love that for them. Love every single one of them. The ending of this did destroy me. I don't know, I'm still recovering. I still think about it, and I'm still just like, how could you do that to me? Next, we have an Enchantment of Ravens, which is just so cute. So wholesome, completely the opposite of She Who Became the Sun. In an Enchantment of Ravens, Isabel knows that every enchantment given by the Fae comes at a price, but it is a part of her society. So she sells her paintings, and she's a fantastic painter, unlike some other artists that deal with Fae that shall not be named. She sells the Fae paintings that satisfy their vain nature, and she does it all for the reasonable price of protection of her home against enchantments, and also better egg yield for her chickens. We love a economical queen. Then the Prince of Autumn sits for a portrait, and she stokes his fury as she has painted human emotion in his eyes, and the Fae are nothing if not petty. Nothing if not wanting you to perceive them as above humans, as above human emotion. So he is furious, and he spirits her away to answer for her insult against him. But as they are off on their journey to the Autumn Court, they're attacked on all sides from a myriad of Fae creatures. They must form an alliance to figure out what's going on and survive those that would see them dead. And now I did describe it as wholesome, and it is. It is still wholesome, even though they are running for their lives, all right? I loved it so much, and just the prose that goes into describing how she paints and the composition of her work, amazing. Better than just, I think I'll name this piece Sunrise. None of that corny shit. Oh my gosh, this one really has me. This one really, really has me. Oh my god. Wholesome vibes or heartbreaking vibes? Oof. What am I gonna do? I just don't know. I think it has to be an Enchantment of Raven. I love how bite-sized it was. I loved how wholesome it was. I think Rook was an amazing character. And I don't know, it was so romantic, so beautiful. I'm so sorry, Shelley Parker-Chan. You really are, like, great for writing She Who Became the Sun. I was a little salty over He Who Drowned the World. I don't know why, because it's a continuation of heartbreak. Moving on, we have the Jasad Heir versus Starling House. Now let me tell you, am I bitter that the Jasad Heir did not win the category of romantasy? Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Have I read Fourth Wing? No. Will I? Probably not. But I can tell you this shit is better. I can tell you right now. This is true enemies to lovers, and the tension, amazing. Amazing. Let me get into what it's about. The Jasad Heir is about Silvia, who has a secret, and she'd do anything to conceal that secret. She's the lost heir of Jasad, a kingdom of magic that was burned years ago by Nizal armies, who now track down and kill any surviving Jasadis that they find. They are led by the Nizal heir, Aaron. I think that's how you say it. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's A-R-I-N. Aaron. I read a series of books during this time. 3, to be exact, that had characters named Aaron. It was a crazy time for me. Sorry, tangent over. Aaron is the head of this army, and he discovers Silvia's magic. And he does not kill her like he would anybody else. He offers her a choice to work with him. And really, it's not really a choice. She either accepts him or she dies. So with no choice, she works with her greatest enemy for a chance of freedom. Or maybe a chance to restore the kingdom of Jasad? Read it and find out. Then we have Starling House. Starling House has a creepy house. As we've already gone over, I love a fucking creepy house. So, Starling House follows Opal. Opal has accepted the fact that she will never get out of Eden, Kentucky. A no good, bad luck town. It's Kentucky. I'm from Florida, so I can't really disparage any other state. But that doesn't mean Opal's younger brother has to suffer the same fate as her. She will do anything to secure him a spot at a private school that will give him a brighter, better future, including taking a housekeeping job at the eerie Starling House and dealing with its last lonely guardian, Arthur Starling. But there are sinister things that lurk within the house and other forces that are interested in the secrets that the estate holds. These secrets must be unburied, and Opal may learn that there's a home for her after all. The writing that Alix Harrow did for this is so good. I think the most highlighted book, okay, so for both Starling House and for the Jasad Heir, I read those on my Kindle. All the other ones I actually have a physical copy of, and I'm not a highlighting in my physical books girly, so I highlighted a shit ton on Kindle for these two, for the Jasad Heir and for Starling House. And I do think that they have some of the most compelling prose that I have read, and Starling House really does something for me. Really sees me as a girl who grew up really poor. Loved watching these two come together and figure out the secrets of the house, figure out their own history. I thought it was great. I loved every single second of this book. And also I loved every single second of the Jasad Heir. So this is really hurting me to choose between them. Starling House was also in the Goodreads Choice Awards, and I don't know if it won or not. I can't remember. I'm just more bitter about the Jasad Heir because it lost a 4th ring and it doesn't get a lot of hype at all. And for that reason, I'm gonna give it the hype that it deserves, and it's going to the next round in this bracket. Let's stay over here in the bracket. We have an Enchantment of Ravens versing off against the Jasad Heir. While I love the whimsical vibes of an Enchantment of Raven, I think I do have to give it to the Jasad Heir because it was just so compelling. I'm really excited about the next installment, where this is just a good old standalone, very nice, sweet, short story. Like if you want a quick read that really tickles your fae bone, not that fae bone. There's none of those in this. This is such a good story. So sweet, so great. I love it so much. But it has to go to the Jasad Heir. And then we have a Mexican Gothic versus the City of Brass. Love to see it. Very interesting. So we have 2 fantasy stories. One that is just straight up romantasy. Like, that is all the Jasad Heir is. It is a romantasy. I think it has a pretty solid plot, but I would be lying if I said that the romance wasn't a big part of it. On the other side, we have a fantasy that has a little bit of romance in it. Just a little bit. A little sprinkling. But really, what really is the linchpin, don't know if I'm using that correctly, in this story is the political intrigue. The political intrigue in the Daevabad series is so good. Love every second of it. And my sweet Alizad. Oh my god. Nari is also a very compelling character. I think she is so good. And then they have Dara, who is also an amazing character. Amazing character. A lot of... I'm not gonna say it. After much deliberation, and to the surprise of not me, you didn't see this coming? The City of Brass is my book of 2023. The definitive best book of 2023. Don't fight me on it. I'm right. It didn't come out in 2023, but it is the best book that I read. Thank you for tuning in, guys. If you liked this, let me know. Like it. Press that little button. I honestly don't know when my next video will be. I really wanted to make this ever since like the middle of 2023. Obviously couldn't. I don't know what I'm doing with this channel. Let me know what you think. And I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. That the Jasad Heir, God, I can't say that word.